talk about the two arcs. The entire movie has two arcs. What does that mean, Jordan? I-N-T-E-X-T?
Interior, exterior?
Not the interior, exterior. Talking about the whole story arc. You'll find people referring to these by different terms. Sometimes the internal is also called the emotional arc. Another word they use is subjective. It's the subjective story because it happens to the character. The external story is sometimes called the physical story or the objective story. So I found a really cool document, a really cool article about this. Stories that aren't stories and why. Okay, then here's a story. A woman is sitting on a rock looking out to sea. She's conflicted, feeling guilty about having abandoned her husband and children in order to pursue a career as a writer. As she sits on her rock, staring at the ocean, the woman works it out in her mind and finally comes to a resolution of her conflict, deciding that she must pursue her dream and go on with her writing, even though it means that she must lose her family. What's the subjective storyline? The woman struggled to choose between pursuing her own interests and giving up her dream in order to care for her family. What's the objective storyline? There is no objective storyline. Why is this important? Because without an objective storyline, there is no external story for us to see. All we see is the woman looking out to sea, maybe with a frown on her face. This woman might be going through emotional conflict and anguish as great as that of soldiers in the middle of a war. But how do we know, and why should we care? What do we see on screen that's visually interesting? Nothing. Okay, a cop is chasing a bad guy, finally tracks him down and defeats him. What's the objective storyline? A cop chases a bad guy. What's the subjective storyline? There is no subjective storyline. We can see spectacular special effects, gunfights, car crashes, bombs exploding, but there's no personal, subjective story or struggle. There is no one who draws us into the story, leads us through the story, no one to lend a personal feel to the movie. So that's what's meant by internal storytelling, external storytelling. Subjective, objective, emotional, physical.